Well, hello, Mr. Bob Richards. How are you today?
Michael, good afternoon to you. It is a beautiful day and I'm doing fantastic, just as almost as good as you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I had no idea I was doing that. I want to welcome everybody to another one of your Let's Get Real mini podcasts, kind of a shorty. You guys, Bob is going to give you an update on some of the things that are happening in today's market due to some of the minor uprisings in the Mideast. So, what's going on, Bob?
Yeah, so folks, again, thank you for joining. One of the things I wanted to point out here is that, okay, we're recording this on March the 11th. It's a Wednesday. And just wanted to share with you, okay, so I've been through a few wars, never deployed, never been in the military, but in the real estate market, I've seen quite a few ebbs and flows due to market conditions as it relates to conflicts, wars, whatever you want to call the next matter of business that the U.S. government has against another country, which I wholeheartedly support, by the way. There's just so many good things that are happening because of this. However, there's a couple of bad things too. Right now, energy is more expensive. Barrels of oil have been north of $100 a barrel now. They're down in the 80s and usually in the 90s, but we like them in the 60s. And so it's kind of all over the place that way. And what does that do to interest rates? Because they're just as volatile, or can be. And as we've seen, they've been volatile from an eighth of a point to a half a point later to a full point higher a year or so ago. So there's just a lot of changes that are happening. Okay, so here's what I know, here's what I can say, here's what I can confirm. Number one, anytime there are boots on the ground in a conflict, rates go down.
Really?
Period. Period. Yes. So as long as we're in the air, which I hope we stay in the air and don't get boots on the ground in any country, rates will not be affected. But if we get boots on the ground, physical people, men and women, on some sort of land or site in a conflict, rates go down. Number two is consumer confidence tends to go down as well as we get into conflicts, because you're hearing, again, noise from these channels and this left wing and right wing and this podcast and this reporter, so to speak, and this commentator and others that are just piling on noise. And you get people that ask questions to guests that says, well, what do you think? And what do you predict? And I'm thinking like, okay, like this Savannah Guthrie mom. Well, what do you think she is? Well, gee, if I knew, I'd probably let somebody know. It's just weird how
Yeah.
people are these days, Michael.
Yeah.
And so again, that's get rid of the noise and focus on you here now rather than tomorrow, last year, next year. Let's focus in on where you're at today, where you want to be. Let me show you how you can get there as a seller or as a buyer. Because this other knowledge, in addition to interest rates info, are things that I absolutely thrive on being able to share with people, because I do not want them to make a mistake. You and I both know, Michael, financially, if we make mistakes, it's hard to recover from,
Yeah.
no matter the age. Now, if you're in your 20s and 30s, you can probably rebound over the next few years or decades. But as you get into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and older, then it's a much harder bite if you've made a financial real estate mistake. So I want people to understand and know what they can depend on and trust and have confidence in as they make their real estate decisions. I've had people yesterday that I was working with, I thought, that said, you know what, we've decided to choose bargain as far as a lower commission rate rather than quality. I said, well, you can't have both. It's one
Yeah.
or the other. And so, again, you can be a Walmart with a Walmart realtor or below, or you can have somebody that's more of a Saks Fifth Avenue kind of a person. Not that I, drive a Rolls or anything, but just to have that quality and confidence in the product that you're working with, but also the person who helps as the product in your real estate sales or purchases.
Wow. So, do you have the name for that Walmart realtor, Bob?
I actually got a few, unfortunately, and that realtor took business away from me because he went cheap. Now, one of the things that I talked with the seller about was, So if I sell your home, if you go this other direction with this other realtor and he's only charging you 1.5%, what is there being made available for the buyer's agent? If I was to come in and show that house and sell it, what are you compensating me? Huh?
Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
They had no idea. They had no idea that that was part of the transaction, part of the fee. That agent did not tell them that.
Yeah. And usually what happens in one of
Or
those
poor
discount,
communication.
yeah, one of those discount things is that if one side's only paying like 1.5% commission, it just doesn't get shown. Because you know what I found, Bob? Most realtors are motivated by money.
Yeah.
It's hard
It's
to
how,
believe.
how we pay our bills, right?
My gosh.
Yeah.
Don't go cheap. You know, if you can't afford it, just stay in the house until you can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're risking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in a potential lawsuit or more.
Yeah.
That kind of ruin that could place on you financially, you don't recover from. I don't care what age.
Yeah, it's kind of like fast food. You know, you can go to one of these cheap fast food places. You're not really sure what's in the food and how do you pronounce that chemical anyway? Or you can just go to a nice restaurant and pay for something that you know what you're getting.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, Bob, if someone has questions and they'd like you to list their home, how can they get a hold of you?
Thanks, Michael. So I'm at Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate. We're just on the corner of Main Street and St. George Boulevard. My number is 435-703-8824. Email address is bob@byutah. Feel free to give me a call, text, email, whatever we can do to talk and get a little bit more comfortable with each other, see if we'd be a good match to do business with each other. So that's the best way to reach me, and byutah.com is my real estate website.
And I want to remind everyone that you also have an amazing real estate podcast called Let's Get Real. It's available on all the major podcast channels and also on YouTube, where you can look at all of the past the editions of the Let's Get Real podcast. I believe it's also on your website too, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. We got links there and all of this, folks, thanks to Michael Mollenauer. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Bob. You're a vivacious young man. I do want to mention something that we talked about in the last mini podcast.
Yeah.
The fact is, one of the things that makes Bob Richards unique, folks, is that he has an amazing podcast called Let's Get Real. And in that podcast, he actually will showcase your listing of your new home within the confines of his podcast. That's one of the things that Bob does to help market the home, help it sell quicker, and for more money. Oh my gosh, for more money.
For more money. Hey, what a thought.
Be still my heart.
Absolutely.
Hey, we'll see you again next time, Bob, with another amazing edition of Let's Get Real with your friend of mine, Mr. Bob Richards.
Thank you.